Hello class, I want to talk to you today about matching colors, and this can be useful in a project like the photorealistic painting project, where you have to uh, capture the colors that you observe in the photo. So this won't always be the case, but in this painting it is. And we're going to be matching colors with regard to the hue, value, and saturation. So just to review, the hue is the name of the color as it appears on the outside of the color wheel. The value is how light or dark the color is. Saturation is how bright or dull the color is. And when we go to color match, we're going to first start by matching the hue, then we're going to match the value, and then we're going to match the saturation. And let's start by doing it with this color swatch. Okay, I just got this off one of those yellow manila envelopes. Okay, and you're first going to want to find what is the hue of this that you're trying to match. So if you look at the color wheel, you think it's a yellow. Is it an orange? I'd say it's a yellow orange. So once you decided on that, then you got to see what colors you have. Now, if you have an orange, then you can mix an orange with a yellow, and that'll give you this hue. But I don't have orange, but I do have cadmium red, and I do have, unfortunately I don't have this in the same brand in the same level, but I do have some cheaper cadmium yellow here. Okay, and then when you mix yellow and red together in the appropriate quantities, you can get a yellow orange. Okay, and I'm going to use a palette knife, and this is useful because you're not going to get your brush all globbed up with paint. So when you mix on this, it keeps it a little bit neater and cleaner. Okay, I put my paints off to the side, and I'll be mixing closer into the middle. Okay, now I'm going to start with the yellow, and the reason I'm going to start with the yellow, I'm going to mix a little bit of red into it, is because the red has a really strong tinting strength, and it's going to change the color of the yellow more quickly than the yellow will change the color of the red. You can already see just a little bit of red, and it's already too red. Okay, so this is a good learning moment. You want to very slowly add the paint in, or add it in little increments. Because what will happen is that it'll change the color very rapidly. So try to push this back a bit. And I'm actually adding a little bit more yellow in bigger increments than I usually would, because I know the yellow has a lower tinting strength. So I know it's not going to change the red that quickly. Okay, and then once you've matched the hue, then you're going to want to match the value. And looking at this, I could tell it's a bit too dark. So if you want to lighten something, you're going to want to add white to it. And I could already tell that it needs more red in it. Okay, so once I've lightened it, I've realized that the hue's still a little off and needs a little more red. So just add a little bit more in there, working in little increments. You're gonna make sure you're doing this in a well-lit area. If you're doing this in a dark, shaded area, it's gonna be hard to see your colors. And the next thing is try to keep your paint in a smaller area. You don't want it to blend across the whole, or not blend, but you don't want it to spread across the whole palette because then it's going to dry very quickly. So try to keep it in a contained area. I think I'm right there. I'm gonna add just a little more white because I realized that this generally dries a little darker. So make it slightly lighter. Okay, and let's just put it on a little piece of paper. Test it. I think we're pretty close, okay? And I think the saturation is at a good spot, but if we wanted to lower that or change that, then we would add, we could only lower it. So you'd add gray of the same value, or you would add the complement. Okay, so let's try a new color. What would you say the hue of this brown is? I would say an orange. Orange. I think there's orange in there. Okay. And luckily we actually already have burnt umber, which has a hue of orange, which was pretty close to this. So what you want to do is you want to go and find the hues that are closest to the hue that you want. So we got the hue correct, or close. So let's go to the value. So is this lighter, or does this need to be lighter or darker? And it needs to be lighter, so we can add white. I think now we're actually realizing that the hue's a little off. I think we need a little bit more yellow in it. And I would say this is quite close. So let's do the test. And I think we made it. Okay, so let's try to match one more color. Let's match this. Okay, so let's first look at this color swatch and let's figure out what the hue of it is. You think it's a yellow-green, a green, or a blue-green? Okay, so let's get our phthalo blue. Let's put it right here. So we're trying to get that. Okay, but we know there's a little bit of yellow in there, so let's mix a little yellow into the phthalo blue. Okay, let's look at the hue. There's a little bit more blue in there. Some more blue. And I think we're pretty close, okay? So now we're gonna adjust the value. Okay, do you think we need to go lighter, or do you think we need to go darker? We need to go lighter. Okay, so we're gonna add white. I know we haven't had any cases where we had to add black, but if you do need to darken your color, I would suggest using the chromatic black. So that's the black that we created by mixing colors together. And we mixed in our recipe, we mixed burnt umber, phthalo blue, and cadmium red. Just a tiny bit of cadmium red. Sure, I have some white right here, so let's use that. So a little bit at a time, okay? Okay, I think a little bit lighter. I think we might have went a little too light. Or maybe not, let's see. I think it needs more yellow in it now. So I think our hue is off now. So just the hue. A little more yellow to it. Okay, so I think our value's okay, our hue's okay, but this is our issue. This is too bright. This is too saturated. So how do we lower the saturation? And the way we could lower the saturation is we can add either the complement, which in this case would be, let's see, let's go on the color wheel. So if this is a blue-green, then we're going to be looking at a red-orange. Okay, you add a red-orange to it. Or we could add gray. Okay, so let's try using the complement. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix a little bit of red-orange. Actually, let's just grab it. No, let's just use this. It's a little bit dirty, so actually we should have. That'll work. Okay, so we got a red-orange here. Let's mix a little of this red-orange into this blue-green. Let's see what happens. Okay, you can see it's already lowering the saturation. I think we need to dull it up just a little bit more. Okay, I think we're very close. I think we just need to dull it up just a little bit more. I think we might be a little too dark now, so just a little bit more white. Okay, and I think we're pretty close at this point. I'll call this a color match. So just as a quick review, we first match the hue, we then match the value, and then we match the saturation.